Well, we're going on a medical call with a 59-year-old female having, I think, some difficulty breathing or something, which generally is not a call that we would go on at all. But the dispatch system here has alerted about history at this apartment where there's a male who came out with a machete once and essentially was attempting suicide by a cop trying to get shot and whatnot. So they are not sending paramedics by themselves to this. They're going to send police as well.
Hey. Okay, you want to step out real quick? You don't have anything on you? Okay, we're going to pat you down real quick.
Okay. Yep, we've got the ambulance standing by here. Just a moment, okay?
How you doing, Mr. Brown?
Just a second here. You're having some difficulty breathing, is that right? The son who we previously had the incident with was there, and he was cooperative and was patted down for weapons, and then the female who needed medical attention came out and is with the ambulance crew. All right, yeah, we've got the paramedics here. Just a second. Is it just you and your son here? Is it your son? I'm sorry. Okay. All right. If you want to come on out here, ma'am, we'll get you over to the ambulance, okay? Are you able to walk okay? I don't want to... Okay. So we just went out to a call here for a female who was in need of some medical attention. Our son was actually the caller, and we had previous contact with him where he was essentially attempting suicide by cop, came out with a machete and kind of charged at officers trying to get them to shoot him. So we responded on this medical call that otherwise wouldn't have needed police. All right, what made me want to become a police officer? Honestly, I grew up farming and milking cows, and, having very long days and whatnot, and I don't know, one day I was like, I'm not really sure I want to do this for the rest of my life, and our little small town cop rolled by, and I was like, I could do that. And I had an uncle who was with U.S. Customs, just now Homeland Security and whatnot. So, he always had all these interesting stories and things going on, and that was kind of what drew me to the profession to begin with. There's the adrenaline aspect and helping people and hopefully doing something good out here. And all that has appeal, but I'd say I kind of came into it by accident almost. It wasn't something that I grew up as a kid thinking I was going to do. It's definitely been good. It's an interesting experience for sure, and opens your eyes to a lot of things, and hopefully every now and then you get the opportunity to do something good and make a difference as well.
Your daughter seems to be a civil dispute between the mother and her husband. Also stating that the husband made threats to her last night as well.
So right now we are headed to what they're calling a welfare check. The caller is the mom of a 9-year-old who says the 9-year-old is sick, and her, sounds like a strange husband, is not allowing her to see the child, and that there were possibly also some sort of threats made last night.
I just want to make sure my daughter's safe.
Mm-hmm.
I do have access to her continuous glucose monitor information.
Okay.
But he removed me from the home last night, basically by threat. Told me that if I didn't leave, it was going to be a bad night.
So the call we were just on was went out as a welfare check. It was really kind of more of a civil dispute, it sounded like, between a husband and wife who are in the process of separating, and some concern over the young daughter with some medical issues. I assume there's not currently a court agreement as far as custody and that kind of thing.
I was considering going down to...
we get these kind of calls a fair amount. You always got to look into them and make sure there's not more going on than you think there might be. Generally, unless there's really concern that the child's in some sort of danger, we do not take children from one parent and give it to the other parent without some sort of actual signed judge's order that a child is to be removed, which a lot of people don't fully understand until we explain that to them. Even if they have a custody agreement, unless there's some reason to believe that child is in danger being with the other parent, we aren't going to remove the child from one parent and give it to the other. They need to follow up with the friend of the court. Right.
If she says she wants to come with me, is that a possibility?
Well, we don't.
You guys can't really get into that.
Right. I mean, we can't really physically remove her against the other parent's wishes either. If he, and it's the same if it was reversed and you were in the house and you had her and he really wanted her.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same situation that we can't just
I get it.
go in and forcibly remove her.
I-
There's really not a lot we can do without a judge's order. So it sounds like, she would just like to see the daughter. She's concerned because she's able to access some glucose monitoring
monitor?
thing. Yep. The wife wanted to take the daughter with her, but there was no expression of a real concern for her safety beyond she's able to monitor glucose through an app or something like that. But no real articulable expression of a concern for the child's safety. Neither party has any sort of custody agreement with the child, so we recommended for her to follow up with the courts and get a custody agreement in place, something that might be enforceable in the future, and stood by while she grabbed some property from within the house.
I want the door closed. I'm paying for the heat. I pay all the bills here.
Sir,
with me then,
I pay
please.
all
Do
the
the
bills
reasonable
here.
thing. The reasonable thing and let her
I
grab
think it's
some.
unreasonable to put your foot in the door.
Well, it's
No,
not
my house.
unreasonable.
This is my house.
It's my house. I am on the title. I pay all of the bills. You're telling
too.
me.
Sir,
I'm recording the whole thing.
I'm
Don't worry
inviting
about it.
her in.
so are we.
I'm inviting
great.
them in.
I'm not inviting them in.
I'm
I'm
inviting them.
specifically not inviting
Okay,
them.
that's
Because-
fine. That's
because
fine.
You're creating a situation.
But I'm
that's
concerned.
dangerous to all
Hey,
of us.
sir, listen to me, okay? I'm concerned that clearly the two of you have some tension, okay?
That's right.
And we're here as the police
I'm concerned
to
too.
help mitigate
I
that.
want to close the door.
Okay, well, I'm not allowing that right now. She's going to grab some items if that's what she wants
I
to
want
do.
to close the door.
Well, my foot is here, so that's going to be a problem. Okay? So if you want to grab some items, if that's what we're doing, then let's do it and let's get it done.
Are you saying that I'm a threat to you? Is that what's going on?
I'm concerned about the situation between the two of you.
I thought that I'm
I want the door.
the homeowner and I have
Okay.
the right to close
But I
this
am the
door.
homeowner as well.
Not right now, because I have to be sure you two are safe.
We are safe. Why are you
Okay.
assuming we're not safe?
I'm asking.
Because obviously there's a situation between the two of you. We respond to domestic calls all the time, and we take these kind of measures because domestic situations have a tendency to turn violent. Now, I don't know the two of you,
I'm
and
not
I
violent.
hope that's not the situation at all, but we have to take
You're
certain
making an
measures.
assumption that I am.
I have to be sure that people
And
are safe.
actually,
The husband was agreeable to the wife coming inside to get some property. They both live there. They both have equal right to be in the house. But she wanted the door to remain open and he wanted it to be closed. And there was clearly some tension and acrimony between the two of them. So I put my foot in the door to prevent it from being completely shut in the event that something were to happen inside between the two of them and someone needed the police assistance. I didn't want to be locked out of the house while there was clearly a lot of tension between the two of them. Domestic situations can turn real quick. We've had a lot of incidents in the city of Lansing with very violent or even, having partners killed in domestic situations. And obviously that's not something we want to let happen. So we did stand by, and I stood by right at the door, even though obviously the husband was not real happy with that and expressed as much.
my fourth
I want to make sure that everyone here is safe. That's what I'm here for. Peace officer.
As far as I'm concerned, it's an unreasonable search.
There is no searching or seizing occurring.
And your wife has every right to this property as you do.
That's right. I absolutely agree. So, what are you going to do about her trying to take the child out of the home?
I explained to her that that's a situation for a friend of the court, that you guys need to get a custody arrangement in place, and that's where it's at. We're not going to facilitate the exchange of the child and whatnot.
Have a good day.
I stood there while she got the property just to ensure the safety of the people there, and if she had her property, then she had no reason to be hanging out, even though she does live there and has a right to be there if she wants to be. I think she was doing the smarter thing and separating from the situation to avoid turning it into a bigger problem that could lead to some violence, potentially. So it was probably the better thing to do to just have them be separated and go two different ways.
Alrighty.
I'm out of here. Thank you very, very much.
All right, no problem. Take care. It's really important to have a positive attitude in this job because you do see a lot of things that are pretty rough, You go on the domestic or the bad auto accident, you know, scenes where people have died. You know, you run into people all the time who are having the worst day of their life. And, you know, you got to have that level head. You got to keep yourself mentally in a condition that you are able to perform your best and help those people at their worst times. And, you know, you gotta have a positive attitude as much as you can. Everyone makes mistakes, and you're gonna come across them at a bad time, and you just gotta remember that everyone's human, and, you know, this interaction you're having with them today is probably not someone at their best if they've just gone through something really difficult. And it's just important to keep that in mind and kind of try to work with people and do the best you can with whatever given situation you're in.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Join the Team. And remember, during these winter months, make sure you give yourself enough time to get to and from where you're going. Thank you.